Welcome to the walkthrough of IBM's Knowledge Accelerator for Financial Services. This offering is available on IBM Cloud Pak for Data, primarily using the Watson Knowledge Catalog capability. This video provides an overview of the extensive business term coverage provided for financial services institutions. These terms can be leveraged in auto-classification of the institution's data sources, resulting in an organized catalog of data assets for data exploration and analysis, including machine learning. Let's dive deeper. The top-level view for content includes 4 categories: business core vocabulary, business performance indicators, business scopes, and industry alignment vocabularies. Let's now look at each category area in more detail. Firstly, the business core vocabulary. This category contains thousands of financial business terms organized into 14 subcategories. The business terms can be used to define and agree the vocabulary and consistent meaning of business information within a financial institution. They also serve as a target for auto-classification of data sources. This is the core area of the vocabulary to which all other terms within the business performance indicators and industry alignment vocabularies are mapped. These 14 subcategories conveniently group the terms into the main business concept areas covering the spectrum of financial services information, including arrangement, communication, involved party, product, property, and transaction. Let's look at the transaction and involved party categories in more detail. In this category, there are terms describing the different types of transactions, their characteristics, and relationships with other business terms. For example, accounting transaction basis, which describes when the change effected by the transaction is recognized. Asset acquisition, asset disposal, asset transfer are types of accounting transactions. Borrow transaction and buy transaction are types of financial market transactions. There are 430 terms in this category describing the different transaction types and their properties. If we want to explore the terms in more detail, we select them to open their properties. For example, if we select the buy transaction, we can view its family hierarchy and see that it is a specialization of financial market transaction, which itself is a type of accounting transaction under transaction. Transaction is the top of this hierarchy. Let's look at the characteristics of the transaction term. This is a concept term indicated by its tag. A concept can have property terms and relationships to other concept terms. We can also see a full description of the term and that it is owned by the primary category of transaction. It is referenced by secondary categories representing projects, use cases, and other views or segments of the vocabulary terms. We'll discuss those in a moment. This term has 2 child type of relationships describing the more specialized types of transactions. The transaction properties are listed in the has a part of relationship. These property terms are used to describe a concept term and relate concepts together. Transaction has 124 property terms. Properties can be amounts, codes, dates, and descriptions associated with the transaction, such as realized cost, transaction code, transaction identifier. Some properties define a set of reference data values. For example, contact medium type relates to a reference data set containing potential values of this property. This reference data can be extended or customized with values from your own data sources. These sets and values can be used as input to data classes to help with profiling data services and governing data. Property relationship terms relate 2 concepts together. These can be identified by their extra tag and classification of relationship. These types of property terms enable cross-business term relationships. In this case, transaction benefactor, which is of the transaction, notice that the term has a related business term of involved party, indicating that an involved party is the benefactor in this transaction. Clicking on involved party here now brings us to a concept term owned by the involved party category. Involved party has its own set of properties. All property terms in the business core vocabulary have a name, description, cardinality, and data type. We will see later how these business terms are mapped and used to align with the descriptions of terms in other vocabularies represented in the industry alignment vocabularies. This importantly also relates any data that is mapped to a business term onto these standards and interfaces. In addition to the industry-specific reference data that is available with the IBM Knowledge Accelerator for financial services, there are also approximately 200 data classes available with Watson Knowledge Catalog. The business terms are also related to these data classes. For example, in the Mapped Data Classes section, we see 3 assigned data classes. These data classes can be used to auto-classify data sources to the business terms of the Knowledge Accelerator to help govern and catalog your data. Let's now look at the next category area of the Knowledge Accelerator, Business Performance Indicators. This area includes an extensive set of performance analysis terms and measures that can be used to define and agree measurements of the business. They include over 1,600 measures grouped into approximately 150 performance analysis terms. They are sorted into categories representing performance areas of interest such as regulatory compliance and risk management. These terms can also be used to document and govern reporting and analytical data. Navigating into risk management, we get a list of all performance analysis and measure terms included in that category. We decide to restrict our list to names that include analysis. Let's take a deeper look at credit risk analysis. Credit risk analysis can be analysed by business core vocabulary terms such as arrangement financial status and exposure currency. The has a part of relationship describes the key measures to be analysed in this performance analysis term. These measures may be calculated or derived from other measures, properties and concepts in the business core vocabulary. For example, loan loss allowances ratio is calculated from 2 other measures in the business performance indicators. Note that the formula field gives us an outline of the calculation. Let's now look at the next category area of the Knowledge Accelerator, business scopes. The scopes are secondary categories that reference business terms from multiple primary categories. There are approximately 42 scopes to cover a diverse range of project data requirements from across the financial services institution. Some business scopes, such as anti-money laundering, AML, have further subcategories within them. For example, AML suspicious activity contains terms such as account opening, which is an accounting transaction that represents the establishment of an agreement between involved parties and the associated mechanisms to manage that agreement. Alias, which is an involved party name that is an assumed or alternatively used name. An ATM channel, which is the delivery system that receives customer transactions through a wall-mounted terminal. The final category area that we will walk through is the industry alignment vocabularies. These are vocabulary representations of the native terminology and structure of external industry standards and financial regulations including Basel, Dodd-Frank, FATCA, and data privacy regulations, GDPR and CCPA. These alignment terms are mapped across to the business core vocabulary, enabling the alignment terms to be used as an entry point into the core business terms and by extension to any data mapped into these same core terms. Let's look at the General Data Protection Regulation in more detail. There is a category to represent the structure of the regulatory documents, chapters, articles, and the document terms that are contained within them. There's also an alternative set of categories to group key sets of terms within the regulatory text, such as personal data, processing activities, rights of data subjects, and so on. Following the structure of the regulatory document, let's look at an example of a document term, National Identification Number, within the Article 087 subcategory. This document term is assigned to 3 business terms in the business core vocabulary: identity card number, individual tax identification number, and social security number. It is in a type hierarchy, which we can expand to show that it is a type of personal data. If we now look at one of the assigned to business core vocabulary terms, individual tax identification number, we can see that this core term has been assigned from multiple industry alignment vocabularies, including CCPA, Dodd-Frank, FATCA, FIBO, and GDPR. This shows how core business terms are designed to help translate external requirements into a common shared vocabulary. We will finish up showing how to browse via the global search in IBM Cloud Pak for Data. Let's look for all terms containing customer. We can restrict the results to only include business terms that are concepts. You can explore and click into any of these terms to start your navigation of the Knowledge Accelerator for Financial Services vocabulary content. This concludes the walkthrough of IBM's Knowledge Accelerator for Financial Services on Cloud Pak for Data using Watson Knowledge Catalog. Thank you for watching.